Now I have to ask myself what I can make here. And I rather eat my own food than, that's often what other people cook. Because I know that I'm cooking in the spirit. Creating a good meal. Okay, now I have to ask myself what I'm actually making. Okay. I could say now as promised, but I never did really promise anything. Okay, I'm gonna make some kind of like a lentil curry. I still have also baked bananas, but I'm gonna keep them because I'm still householding. Yeah, you can see this. Because I'm also checking that the fumes don't go and dirty the lens. Okay, so now the idea is, I'm gonna prepare myself quickly. Well, I think the most important thing when it comes to food is respect. And respect is a lesson in itself. Respect is a perspective that says, hey, I'm actually grateful that I can eat. So, respect also for having feet and legs, which means, you walk as much as you can. Because you recognize the potential strength has in life. And so you eat food that makes you strong. Now I already ate today, and now I'm gonna cook while it's still light. I have seeds that are starting to flourish. Okay, I'm running out of onions, but there's also respect for food, right? You gotta use it while it's still good. And then when you have none, I'm gonna keep these two. Certainly gonna put in chili. I'm gonna add turmeric. I'm just using it because I still have it, right? So if I have something, I usually use it until it's gone. Of course, now I can ask myself, what else do I want in there? I could, of course, add mustard seeds. I still have a few of them. Oh wow, this is... Oh, I still had them. Too bad. And I'm thinking about green cardamom. I think I washed the... Okay. Now, just as a reminder, I don't know what I was going to say. Anyway, I actually wanted to eat this with rice. Just gonna use, well, actually what I get from some of the anime I have been watching, that in Japanese culture they soak rice overnight. And that makes it, I think, more easily digestible. Now I have already shown you once how I make rice, but now I'm running into a bit of a problem, which is why I'm gonna move this. I just want to show you, I just want to capture, wow, as much of the scene. I have another, this is where I attach the camera. And I don't have to show you this every time again. I think I already have shown you. Yeah, okay, you're not gonna see. Yeah, maybe you will. Okay, this is the ginger tea I will use. Okay, at least you can see that there's a pot standing. Okay, I like it. But I can even turn it around, right? And then I can bring this a bit further here, so the fumes don't go in there. Yeah, because this one doesn't work, plus it's too big. Okay, let's see. Oh, that could work. Nice. Right, so occasionally you can just switch things around. Nice, because I'm actually not drinking coffee anymore. Or at least I think I don't. I have not bought any, but I have bought red wine. But I'm not sure yet what I'm going to use this for. Okay. Right, so it's probably best to, now you can talk about also householding with time, which means now you have two jobs. Make the lentil curry dal thing and make the rice. Okay, sometimes it's actually better because rice is more to be steamed. It's more like you want to steam it more than you want to actually boil it to death. So rice, a nice batch of rice probably takes you, I would say, half an hour with everything included. And this will take longer. So I could already start this, and then the rest, of course, because it's all happening in your mind anyway, you just have to bring it into reality, and that happens through action. So you choose to be active. Okay, so what I could do actually is I could already, because I have been told, I'm gonna take, this is like a 200 milliliter standard size glass. It's actually, there was mustard in it. Usually you take this and then the double amount of water. But now I just would like to rinse it a little. I'm not gonna make too much. You could even make it a spiced rice. So I'm just gonna put, I always use filtered water for everything. Just gonna keep it like this for some time. Right, and then I'm making up for I haven't soaked it overnight because I was busy moping that I'm still alone or something. Which is always a choice, of course, but what's the point? It's just weird. It's not the life that you get from a storybook, because it's yours. And how could your story be in a book? I mean, there can be similarities, but then living it may sound less heroic than reading about it. Because if I write a story to you, you know, that's what they say in Rick and Morty, right? When they go to this secret or this adventure that Morty can choose. And Rick is morting all the way. Rick is morting, is moping all the way. And then Morty says, well, you know, when they go down all these steps from the courthouse, where Rick says, well, normally that's the good part of the story. And then Morty says, well, in a story this wouldn't be included because it's the long and tedious stuff nobody wants to see. So usually they only give you the highlights of an adventure. But in order to have an adventure, you have to suffer and you have to go through it. I mean, I was just beginning to listen to The Hobbit again, the audiobook, and I was imagining how it would be in real life, also of course in relation to the experiences I already have with being in the wild. Well, I think at a certain point, because that's the experience I have made, at a certain point you simply relax into it. I have had this in the Bavarian forest on a 5-day hike. We didn't hike all that much. But we had lots of weight to carry. But we also, right, if we felt like, okay, that's enough, we just stopped. We didn't have to go super far every time. And so I already have experiences that show me that if you push through long enough, you may end up, you know, and then you really feel like you deserve the dinner. So now the passage, right, an unexpected party, is where they still have all the comforts and they eat as much as they can and then they leave. And then comes the, well, you don't know, right? I mean, anything could happen. It's super scary, but it also, I mean, it makes you appreciate meals much more. And that's how it used to be always. And now we started to overproduce. And so I just take the food that is about to be thrown away because there's just so much of it. So I just bought probably something like 4 kilos or 5 kilos of apples for €1.50 because they wanted to chuck it. They couldn't sell it anymore. And so they put it in bags, put an X on it, and sell it for 50 cents. And I just got 3 bags. And so that for me is a good decision. It's a good choice because now I can make apple mousse out of it, because also rarely have access to apple trees. Plus there are so many apples that are already being produced that you may as well use the ones that are being produced anyway. And that's kind of what I have been doing for some time now. Like last year I made lots of banana stuff because my neighbors rescued bananas from the shops. So it's like some people rescue dogs and others rescue bananas. So we make use of the food that is there. We don't always have to buy the super fresh, organic, whatever. We just take, because organic is just a label, man. It doesn't exist unless I see the guy working on the fields and then selling it to me. Well, but then why would it need a label? Anything is corruptible, and they are corrupting it. You can be sure of that. So, one thing you want to get out of your cooking, right? I'm just cooking. You can look at what I'm doing and listen to what I'm saying. I just feel like talking. Because I'm so sad and lonely. Right? Because I fell in love once. Yeah. But I just keep myself motivated. I'm still struggling with the... I'm just gonna name it non-masturbating. It's a weird topic to talk about, but for me this is also transformation. Plus a lot of us are struggling with it. And every time I manage for a couple of days, I think, I cannot do it. And then I break off the experiment. I think I should just go through with it. Just see how bad it really gets. I mean, I have endured days of madness and having no idea who I actually am or what's going to happen. So, you know, let's just give this a try, because I think it's important. I don't know. It just feels like I owe it to myself to just know how it could be. Right, if I just went through with it once. But then how long? Well, forever might be a good idea. If you've realized that masturbation is an empty road. I mean, I'm just saying, at a certain point, and then you're suddenly full of life again. I mean, it's not a necessity. I'm not full of life because I'm full of life. I mean, I actively do something for it. But today was also hard. I mean, you just see me now, turning on the camera. I mean, this is in a way my adventure. This is part of my adventure. I love cooking. I want to cook. I want to get better at cooking. And I want to make my own food. I want to grow plants, right? I could see myself working with cannabis again, but without smoking it. So, yeah, I'm just fiddling around a little. I have my own compost heap. It smells a bit like shit. I'm serious, but I mean that's what it is, right? I have some coffee powder in there, like that I already used. I have dandelion in there. I have lots of stuff in there, and I'm going to use it as fertilizer for, well, I've gotten 3 seeds from someone, cannabis seeds. And I want to experiment a little with making food with it. So I first need to grow the plant, because I cannot trust the stuff I get from elsewhere. so I'd rather do it myself. And then just see, right? I mean, most people, they're just too greedy. And because they just use the money for selfish stuff, they just waste it on junk, and then they never have enough money. Because they focus too much on the money. They should just produce a good product, and then people will pay, like gladly pay more, and not sell it to everyone. I mean, I'm really serious. People should stop with the greediness. I mean, it's just an act anyway, right? So what's the point? I mean, you can act greedy. Well, is that the best character you can play? Well, sounds a bit cheesy to me. So these I also dried myself. Somebody brought... Yeah, I'm gonna make this, if I can. I'm gonna make it spicy. I don't know. Just like this. I just want to burn through some things. And I cannot say how spicy this will be. But I think it's gonna be nice. And the weird thing about curry is, you always think it needs to be yellow. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's spicy. You always think it needs to be yellow. Yeah, maybe small one. Why? I don't know. You think if it's not yellow, something's not right. Because they sell curry powder as a yellow mixture. But there's also then the red one. Oh wow. It's incredible how spicy this can get. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. But I know it's actually liberating. Wow. I need to boost through. Plus, if you make a meal and you want it spicy and then you chicken out, and then it actually annoys you. Because I have now stopped with the coffee for a couple of days. And I feel better because coffee is really acidic, makes you heavy. It actually doesn't wake you up. If you drink too much, you just turn into some kind of like acid warehouse. And you're gonna get more and more toxic. And that's what I'm on about. You should pay attention to how you're actually feeling, because I mean, we all know that you can ignore a lot of things. You can ignore what's going on. You can ignore how you're feeling. You can ignore a lot of things. But it's much more interesting to actually pay attention. I don't know why everybody wants to ignore everything. It's like they think that's the cool way to live. No, the cool way to live is by actually being good at what you're doing. But if you're not good at living, then you just look like an idiot. And then you're just gonna run around and say you have all kinds of problems. And that's what you are then, the accumulation of your problems, instead of the solution. I mean, the solution to being lazy is doing something. and starting to be active. But to some, they just focus on the problem that they never get out of it, because that's what the society does. They just focus on the problem, but they never have any real solutions. They just create more problems. Because they just keep jumping from product to product. And so, yeah, sure, I mean, people often don't like talking to me because everything I say sounds to them really gloomy and they don't want to think about it. But you have to think about it. Otherwise, you are making uninformed choices. And that's going to impact your entire life and the life of your children. So you just have to figure this out, because the amount of stuff you put in there varies. I mean, the amount of water and the amount of, let's say, rice, of course, varies according to the kind of rice you're using. It may even vary to the water, so the idea is to never cling to what you think. Like, oh, it should always be this much, because each flower is different, right? The same with people, everyone is different. You need to learn language. Okay, I think for me that's enough. Now I'm going to just check it. I do like rice. Okay, I'm gonna keep the rice plain, I believe. But you could put also cardamom into it. But I'd rather make this, I think. Actually not. Because if you put it in here, question is how many? No. Okay, I'm still thinking about it. So if you stop with the coffee, you probably will look for something else to boost you. Oh, I could even make ginger rice. Because this is going to be spicy anyway. I've got the ginger tea. Okay, first, and now check this, I practice with my left hand. Getting much better. So this is the goal. You want both your sides, your left and your right side, you want them both fully functional. It's good to spend time with your left side. You also need to spend time with your right side. Okay, I still like to sometimes you just want the food to be kind of like clean. But at the same time, what does it really matter? I think you can just put it in there like this, because it's gonna boil anyway. Sometimes I'm like, you get too clingy a little. I mean, what does it mean? Okay, nutmeg will also come into the rice. So this is now spontaneity, right? These are now ideas that I'm having. This is specific to me now, today. This is my road to wherever I see myself. Just a bit more. I mean, you can make also a spiced rice, and you can also make it sweet. I mean, there may be days where you actually need sugar. And then you can make yourself a sweet spiced rice. Now, what I believe is that ginger will give it a fresh taste. Wow. Okay, maybe. Yeah, I don't want to overdo it. This is already a nice experiment. Okay, now I have this. Because I took 1 glass, plus the water already soaked a little. I think if I can put 1 cup of the ginger tea, then I can put the rest in there. Okay. And then 1 more just with water. Okay, I have to clean this. Just a bit more, okay. And then you just bring it to a boil. Put a lid on. And I also have this, if you put in the rice, and then you add water until, if you put the fingertip of your finger onto the surface of the rice, if the water comes until here, it's enough. But I don't know if that's like, for me, the double amount of water to the amount of rice. So you take a cup, you measure it, and then the same cup, twice the amount of water that you used for the rice. Okay. Now this is the flavor I was looking for. Now actually I don't want to use turmeric today. I have bought paprika, sweet paprika. And Paprika is also an interesting movie, by the way. Hard to say. I mean, just always relate it to the life that you're seeing and try to look for solutions. You can also taste spices. You don't have to be... And if you like spicy food and others don't, then you can also make like a chili oil to the side. I've made this myself before. Yeah. Actually tastes a bit. Doesn't have that much fragrance. If I know anything, which I'm sure I do. I have never done this like this, by the way. Actually, I'm gonna mix it. I don't know, I'm not really afraid of spices. Of course, fresh garlic is better, but I'm keeping it for something else. That's enough. You can always put more later if you want to, but it's also better to get used to eating less salt, because too much salt is actually toxic, which brings you back to ignorance. Because salt also makes you fat. Okay, interesting choice. I've never made rice like this, so this is an interesting experiment. So like I said, it's enough to watch this and then just try to reproduce it without watching it again. But of course you can also just try to reproduce it exactly how I'm doing it. Okay, now I'm just gonna put this in there. Yeah, I usually put it all in. So, you know, some people they cook, they always put the heat on the highest. I almost never do this. But some people are really eager to finish. You know, you have to take your time. That's what making food is about. I'm not sure I will take the whole can, because then it's all gone. I'm certainly going to mix it. Okay, part of me thinks it's better to first do it like this. What does he mean, do it like this? Why can he not explain properly? Because you just have to cook a lot to get what I'm telling you. Right? I'm not just doing this. So, right, I'm not gonna teach you how to cut things, but I am. You just have to look at it. But I'm not gonna say, here, this is how you should cut things. Well, you should hold your hands like this, right? So you cannot cut your fingers. So you never cut like this. It's stupid. You cut like this. Right? So your fingertips are out of the way. You make like a claw. And then whatever you're slicing, you can hold it like this. And then you cut like this. And you pay attention to what you're actually doing. Now this should come to a boil. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. And then you just turn it off. Now I have to turn this a bit off earlier because it gets super hot. But it should like simmer. But I cannot reduce this. This thing is somehow broken. It's either full gas or nothing. Or not enough to actually cook something. So I have to get the timing right. But because I have used this stove for some time, I know how to work it. So you have to get used to your kitchen. And if I could choose, I probably would have gas. But if you have gas, then you either need, gas that, how it comes to your house, or you need to carry the bottles here. So however you do it will remain your choice. Certainly does smell good. And I will put in more cumin. I will do this down, because now this will have enough heat. To burn, to cook, I think, until it's done. And then it's just gonna rise. So usually you would bring it to a boil, and once it boils, you reduce the heat to maybe a bit less than medium. Probably if you would have a scale of 9, you would reduce it to maybe 2. If you have a scale of 6, maybe to 1, so that it's still a bit simmering. And once the water is completely gone, and you see the rice is like, there's like water coming out. Like, if the rice rises above the surface of the water, and in the end there's only like bubbles coming out, you just turn off the stove completely. This is all for the taste, by the way. To just char it a little at the bottom, you just make sure it doesn't stick too much, because you still want to have it. You don't just want it to burn, right? So now it didn't burn, I can just scrape it off. You see? It's a bit actually boiling too much, but sometimes that just happens. I actually don't know exactly why or when. It doesn't always happen. And then you just do this. I think it's just too much heat because I kind of have no choice at the moment. Okay. This has to be brought to a boil now. I'm actually reluctant to open this, because then it's gone. And I'm so greedy for the fat that I just want to eat it. But actually I can, right? I mean, if I want to, but I will, maybe I will keep some. Wow. Put the rest in the fridge. I mean, if you're making food for other people, I wouldn't blow on it like this. But I'm just making it for myself, right? Plus, it's always a bit chaotic in the kitchen. I think that's also how it should be. But organized chaos. Yeah, I'm skipping the bay leaf. I don't want to do the same thing every time. I just want a different taste today. Okay. And now all you gotta do is wait till it's done. And pay attention that the food isn't burning. Plus, if this stops bubbling before the water rose above the surface, the rice rose above the surface of the water, then you may turn on the heat again. So, in the end, just figure it out for yourself. That's just the best thing anyone can tell you. Now this has a lot of protein, it has essential oils, it has all kinds of stuff. It has spice. Right, if you feel depressed, this is gonna kick you into the next semester of your own life. So why did I stop or feel like stop drinking coffee? Because it was making me lazy and heavy. And I was experiencing lack of motivation, and that is often a sign of an imbalance. And because I knew I was drinking coffee, because I was the one making it and drinking it, I realized that I should reduce it and see how I will feel if I stop drinking it for a really long time. And then occasionally maybe work with it again. But every time I start drinking coffee again, I get more and more miserable until it's unbearable. And then I hate myself for having stopped with it again in the first place. Because we often just drink it because we want to feel powerful, right? It's like, I have all this energy. Yeah, it's gonna drain you. Oh. Okay. I'll just put on the lid, keep this simmering, turn this on again, because otherwise it will stop boiling and then the rice becomes mushy. Mushy, Mr. Mushy. Yeah. Today was heavy, but I still did my stuff. Waited for whatever I felt like doing and then I did it. And that's all you can do, right? So I could sit around and complain that this isn't the way, but I actually like it. But I also feel like it would be nice to have a nicer kitchen. But I like it. And some people may judge it. Well, that's their problem, because I like it. And I'm the one who built it. It's very simple. But like I said, I like it. Okay, this looks actually good. I'm glad I put in the red, because I was feeling a bit like it. Turn it on once and it just goes nuts again. Yeah. Okay. You know, this is all I had. Now I'm gonna turn this off. And you're in charge. It's your meal, right? Gotta take care of it. Cheers.